The government's new directive in Canada, called the Emergency Economic Measures Order, goes beyond asking banks to simply stop transferring funds to protest organizers. The government says banks need to stop doing business with some people altogether. The order says that banks and other financial entities like credit unions, co-ops, loan companies, trusts, cryptocurrency platforms, and insurance companies must stop providing any financial or related service to people associated with the protests, a move that will result in frozen accounts, stranded money, and canceled credit cards. They're also ordering the insurance company to suspend policies on any vehicles that are part of an unlawful public assembly. The financial institutions can't handle cash, issue a loan, extend a mortgage, or facilitate any transaction of a designated person while the Emergencies Act is in place. Yesterday, they voted in Parliament to keep it in place. Now, that's what you will hear, and you will go, wait a minute. So are Canadians really for this? Is that who Canadians really are? Nope. Trudeau did not have the votes to get this extended. So he played a little political game. He said, well, if you're not going to support this and help me keep this emergency measures order, which will put these people in their place, I'll view that as a vote of no confidence and I'll quit. Oh, no, who's going to take their toys and go home? Now, what does that mean? I mean, here in America,
this sounds kind of good.
It does.
It sounds kind of wonderful, actually. Yes, you should quit.
Unless you're under a parliamentary system and you're a liberal.
Right.
Now, imagine we were under a parliamentary system and Joe Biden said, I'm going to quit. Mm-hmm. And we interpreted that as I'm going to quit. If we had a parliamentary system, that would trigger elections.
New elections, right.
Immediately.
So if you're in power in Canada, you're not in a position right at this moment to want new elections because you're going to lose them.
You're going to lose everything. Mm-hmm. Imagine elections today. I don't think Joe Biden could say, and we would interpret that as I'm going to nuke Kansas. Mm-hmm. And the left would say, we're okay with that. We're okay. Mm-hmm. We're okay.
They would be. Probably
they probably would be.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, for sure.
But like right now, if Joe Biden was like, I'm going to launch snap elections, the left would obviously get slaughtered in those elections.
Slaughtered.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. So then a conservative said, after they voted for the against the no confidence vote, and you can have your toys and you just stay with us. Because if you don't stay with us, we're all going to go bye-bye too, because we're going to be forced to. What happened? A conservative stood up and said, because Trudeau does not have the numbers to continue this emergency order. And so a conservative stood up and said, I'd like to move that we vote on those two separately. We have the no confidence vote. Now let's vote on that. And gosh darn it, they were just all out of time this week. You're kidding me. They were all out of time.
They wanted to do it.
They wanted to do it. The speaker was like, oh, shoot. All out of time. And so they couldn't do that. So that means that it is still in a state of emergency. I'm telling you, this is going to go on until they have made it impossible to dig it out. They are making all of these financial rules permanent in Canada. Here's Trudeau yesterday.
The Emergencies Act is not something to undertake lightly, and it's something that needs to be momentary, temporary, and proportional. Mm-hmm. That's why every single day I'm receiving briefings and we are reflecting on how much longer the Emergencies Act needs to be in place. We don't want to keep it in place a single day longer than necessary.
Of course not. Mm-hmm.
But even though the blockades are lifted across border openings right now, even though things seem to be resolving very well in Ottawa, this state of emergency is not over.
Wow.
There continues to be real concerns about the coming days. but we will continue to evaluate every single day whether or not it is time and we are able to lift this state of emergency.
That is great. That is exactly the way Hitler took power.
The Enabling Act? And nothing. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he went and he killed a bunch of SA people. These were the brown shirts. They were on his side. He said they're just getting out of control. And I had to do, there were plots against the regime. And I know I violated the Constitution, but I have to do it. I had to do it and I do it again. So arrest me or kick me out as chancellor, but I did the right thing for the Republic. And gosh darn it, guess who embraced him? The German people. You know, he did kill his own people. And we've been crying out for somebody to kill those people or take them off the street. So he can't be that bad of a guy. Sure, he violated the Constitution. Let's not worry about it this time. And there was an Emergency Powers Act that had to be enacted because you never know if the bad guys are coming.
I thought we had all decided the Enabling Act was bad.
You think?
I thought we were like, let's not just enable the leader of a country to kind of do whatever they want and call it an emergency that extends forever. Kind of thought we were in agreement on that. Apparently not.
Well, not for good reasons.
Okay.
I mean, if the leader has good reasons, like fear, then it's okay.
What are they going to do if this is let's remember what we're talking about here. A bunch of people in trucks parked for a couple of weeks. What happens if there's an actual crisis?
Well, there was one. There was one in Vancouver or in British Columbia where 20 eco-terrorists took over, threatened lives, put 4 people in jeopardy because they were shooting some sort of tear gas
flares, right?
Flares into cars where people were. But he didn't do anything about that. That's fine.
But I'm saying I'm just gonna throw one out because you're looking for a specific that I can't give you. So I'll just give you a generalized possibility. What happens if a giant world war were to break out in the next couple of weeks? In that outlying possibility, how do these governments react? I mean, let me put it another way. Start here. We know that Russia has gone into 2 regions of Ukraine. Okay, this is something we said was a red line, and obviously is no longer a red line. They've done this. Let's just say they continue to go through Ukraine. What are the odds of that? Seemingly at this point, pretty high, right?
So they continue
to take and go for all of Ukraine. It's not 0%.
No, it's probably
it's not 100.
30%.
30%. Okay, yeah, I think that strikes me as about correct. So they
could be 70.
It could be 70, but I mean, they definitely seem like they are doing.
They
something.
will at some point. They will at some point.
He's basically telling everyone that. I mean, that speech.
Oh yeah,
that he went through yesterday was
it's ours. It's all ours.
It's always been ours. So we're not taking it because it's not a country. Right. Like we're not invading a country because it's just our country.
Yes.
Yes. So, okay. So they decide to go for all of Ukraine, somewhere between 30 and 70%. So what happened? What are the odds of this spiraling out of control? Right across the border, you've got Poland, you've got Lithuania nearby, you've got all these countries that are NATO countries.
If they take Kyiv, if they just went in?
Yeah, they go for the whole thing, and then let's say it spills over. Maybe they continue to go. Maybe a couple of soldiers decide to fire rockets and starts a wider conflict. And if that happens, then we're pulled into a war with Russia. That is only a couple of believable steps away from where we are right now.
Okay, so I don't think we are going to be pulled in. No troops would go in. We don't need those anymore. Vladimir Putin was right when he said about 3 years ago, we're already in World War III. You people, meaning us, just haven't woken up to it. Your leaders keep denying it. But World War III is going to be fought with ones and zeros. Okay. So when for instance, the pipeline could trigger this, and Germany just pulled the pipeline off. That's going to mean prices for heating and natural gas going to go through the roof in Europe. Putin responded this morning with, well, there's $2,000 a month for your energy per household. That will just cripple Europe. So that may just soften everybody up to go, just let him have it. Just let him have it. I don't know. The other thing is, and this may have targeted this, if we do this to them, I know if Joe Biden is serious about these financial restrictions, that will mean that Putin will take on, in my opinion, the ones and zeros campaign, and he will target our financial institutions. He could go after our electrical grid, whatever. But if he goes after our financial institutions, the Great Reset will immediately be triggered. Guarantee it, because that's what they're looking for. That's what they're expecting. In December, they did a war game where a country like Russia targeted the Western financial markets, and it started to take it down. What do? They had to trigger the Great Reset immediately, take everybody who was saying, hey, this is a real problem, and here's what they're really doing, and we got to really... That's what they're planning on doing. Take them off the air. Silence the voices. It'll happen that fast.